Do you ever wonder what the future of electric vehicles in the United States holds? By 2023, more than half of all new cars sold are predicted to be electric. It's an exciting shift towards cleaner transportation, but it poses a perplexing question. Can the aging electric grid, originally designed for fossil fuels, handle this transformation? The electricity demand nationwide is set to surge, potentially increasing by 14 to 19% by 2030 and 27% to 39% by 2035. This growth is significant compared to the mere 5% increase in the past decade. However, electrifying everything isn't a climate solution on its own. About 60% of the electricity in the US still comes from fossil fuels. To truly make a difference, we must simultaneously invest in expanding renewable energy sources. The key is to electrify various sectors and simultaneously decarbonize the electricity supply, ultimately decarbonizing the entire economy. This dual transformation demands significant changes to our electric grid. We need more high-voltage transmission lines to carry power from renewable sources to where it's needed, smaller distribution lines for local delivery, and technology like inverters to enable customers with home batteries and solar panels to contribute excess electricity. But things are not as easy as it sounds. It is very expensive. California, for instance, anticipates spending $50 billion by 2035 just to upgrade its distribution grid to meet ambitious EV goals. When considering a nationwide transformation, we're looking at a staggering price tag of $3.5 to $5 trillion. Sadly, the US isn't currently on course to make these investments. Moreover, building the necessary high-voltage transmission lines is a bureaucratic quagmire, with various agencies and regulations to navigate. The permitting process alone can take a decade or more. How will the United States meet the challenge of surging demand for electricity, especially as the Biden administration strives for a 100% carbon-free electric grid by 2035? This goal necessitates a colossal expansion of renewable energy sources and grid infrastructure. An average Tesla Model 3 driver, covering around 14,000 miles per year, consumes roughly the same amount of electricity for charging as they do for their electric water heater annually, or about 10 times more than what powers an energy-efficient refrigerator. Larger electric vehicles like the Ford F-150 Lightning gobble up even more electricity, rivaling the energy needs of a central AC unit in a sizable home. And it's not just electric vehicles adding to the electricity hunger. It's also the energy demand from building heating, cooling, silicon chip manufacturing, data centers powering artificial intelligence, and more. After a quarter-century of relatively stable electricity demand, the US is facing a substantial surge. The electrification of transport isn't a straightforward shift. It's a complex challenge beyond just plugging in vehicles. If managed effectively, it promises remarkable benefits. If mismanaged, it could lead to widespread dissatisfaction. This risk applies not only to regulators and politicians, but also to utilities. However, there's a pressing issue. Drivers may face charging challenges if the electric vehicle EV surge isn't met with a parallel expansion of grid infrastructure. This could manifest as long wait times at charging stations or limited availability at specific times and places. Moreover, an overburdened grid becomes more susceptible to extreme weather events and blackouts, as California experienced in 2020 and has narrowly avoided since. To meet the escalating demand for electricity and ensure a reliable charging experience for EVs, the most direct path is to increase energy production, preferably from renewable sources. Unlike coal and natural gas plants, which can be situated near urban areas, the best solar and wind resources are often located in rural regions. Wind power comes from windy regions, and solar power originates in sunny areas, which may not align with high-demand regions. Therefore, the US requires additional high-voltage transmission lines capable of transporting renewable energy across county and state borders. These expansive power lines can help mitigate the intermittency of renewable sources. So what are the solutions we could consider? Solution 1. Improving the efficiency of electric vehicles, EVs, is crucial to the transition to cleaner transportation. A prime example is the Aptera, a groundbreaking reimagining of what a vehicle can be. The Aptera boasts an impressive efficiency of about 10 miles per kilowatt hour, setting a new standard for EV efficiency. If we were all driving vehicles as efficient as the Aptera, the increased demand on the grid would be significantly reduced by as much as 2/3. This reduction is because more efficient electric cars require less additional electricity to operate. Moreover, when coupled with solar panels, it's conceivable that you might never need to charge an Aptera from the grid, as it can harness solar energy for its power needs. Efficiency in EV design removes strain on the electrical grid and makes EVs more attractive, cost-effective, and sustainable. It's a win-win scenario where energy-efficient EVs benefit both the environment and consumers by offering better performance and lower operating costs. Solution 2. The rarely discussed aspect of grid demand in the transition to electric vehicles, EVs, relates to the significant electricity consumption of oil refineries. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, in 2021, oil refineries alone consumed nearly 43 billion kilowatt-hours of electricity. This consumption doesn't account for the nearly 1 trillion cubic feet, 28.3 billion cubic meters of natural gas, and other fuels they use. Some estimates go even further, suggesting that when considering the entire life cycle of gasoline production, not just refineries, the electricity consumption could be closer to 100 billion kilowatt-hours per year. This figure is roughly 1/10 of all the electricity needed for a 100% EV fleet. So by transitioning away from gasoline-powered vehicles to electric ones, we reduce emissions, improve efficiency, and free up a significant portion of our electricity supply, currently dedicated to powering oil refineries. This shift is an environmental win and a substantial benefit for our electrical grid and overall energy sustainability. Solution 3. One of the significant challenges facing the electric grid is managing fluctuations in demand. This issue is often illustrated by the duck curve, which shows a decline in energy demand during the day when solar power generation is high, and a peak in demand at night when the sun sets. To address this, grid operators typically maintain baseline power plants to cover average energy usage. They turn to peaker power plants, which are smaller, more expensive, and less environmentally friendly. Electric vehicles offer a unique opportunity to alleviate this challenge. Since they can be programmed to charge strategically, they can help create a more consistent and predictable demand on the grid. Just as people initially had concerns about widespread access to gasoline when automobiles were introduced, we face similar concerns with EVs today. However, in a free market, challenges like these present opportunities for innovation and growth. As the demand for electricity increases, investing in new power plants and grid infrastructure becomes economically advantageous, ultimately supporting the transition to cleaner and more sustainable energy sources. Navigating the politics surrounding this issue will undoubtedly be challenging, but no doubt, one must find a solution as soon as possible. Time is of the essence, and action is required now, not tomorrow or in the distant future. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.